What is time? What exactly is time? And how long will the world last? These might seem like abstract philosophical questions, but for Tabari, they were essential foundations for understanding history itself. Before he could chronicle human events, he needed to establish the temporal framework within which those events unfold. Tabari begins with a careful linguistic analysis of Arabic temporal terminology. The word zaman refers to extended time, covering both long and short durations. Arabs might say they came to someone during the time of a particular governor, referring to his entire period of rule. Or they might say they came during the time of the date harvest, meaning a specific seasonal moment. Another word, waqt, designates specific points rather than extended periods. When speakers use the plural azman, meaning times, they're dividing extended periods into constituent moments, treating each discrete temporal unit as a separate zaman. This linguistic precision might seem technical, but it reveals something important. Pre-Islamic Arabic culture already had sophisticated temporal consciousness. Time wasn't just a vague backdrop to events. It was something that could be analyzed, divided, and measured with precision. So what's Tabari's fundamental definition of time? He settles on something concrete and observable: time consists of the hours of night and day. This anchors abstract temporality in the basic rhythm through which humans actually experience temporal flow. It's the cycle that governs human life and religious obligation. Now comes a bigger question: how long is the total extent of time? How long will the world last from creation to destruction? Tabari presents two major scholarly positions. The first is the 7,000-year theory, attributed to Ibn Abbas through a carefully documented chain of transmission. According to this view, our world is one of the weeks of the other world. By Ibn Abbas's time, 6,200 years had already elapsed, leaving centuries during which there will eventually be no believer in the oneness of God remaining on earth. The second position is the 6,000-year theory, transmitted through authorities like Qabi al-Abar and Wahb ibn Minabi. Wahb specifically stated that 5,600 years had elapsed, though he admitted uncertainty about which kings and prophets lived during each period. How does Tabari try to resolve these competing claims? He turns to prophetic traditions and mathematical analysis. The Prophet Muhammad declared that his community's remaining time resembles the period from afternoon prayer to sunset. Multiple authenticated traditions also describe the Prophet holding his index and middle fingers together, stating that when he was sent, he and the hour were like these two fingers. Scholars interpreted this gesture in different ways. Some focused on the closeness of the fingers, indicating temporal nearness. Others looked at the proportional interpretation, suggesting the difference in finger length represents remaining time. Still others saw it sequentially, with one finger preceding the other just as the Prophet precedes the hour. Tabari's mathematical calculation combines these elements. The time from afternoon prayer to sunset represents approximately 1/14 of a day. The middle finger's excess length over the index finger approximates this same ratio. And there's a tradition stating that God will not make this nation incapable of lasting half a day, meaning 500 years in divine reckoning. If 500 years represent 1/14 of total time, the complete duration equals 7,000 years, with 6,500 years having elapsed by the Prophet's era. Tabari also examines what other religious communities say about chronology. Jewish scholars calculated 4,642 years from Adam's creation to the Islamic Hijra, based on detailed genealogical records in their Torah. They tracked the birth and death of each patriarch and prophet, creating a comprehensive framework. Greek Christian scholars disputed this, proposing 5,992 years from Adam to the Hijra. They attributed the discrepancy to Jewish rejection of Jesus's prophethood, arguing that Jews deny the fulfillment of messianic prophecies clearly indicated in Torah chronology. Zoroastrian tradition presents a different timeline entirely, 3,139 years from King Gayamart to the Islamic Hijra. Zoroastrians identify Gayamart with Adam, though some Islamic scholars proposed alternative genealogies connecting him to Gomer, the son of Japheth and grandson of Noah. Beyond these calculations, Tabari establishes that time itself is created rather than eternal. Since time consists of night and day hours, and these result from solar and lunar motion through celestial spheres, time must have been originated by someone. The Quranic verse stating that the sun runs to a place where it is to reside demonstrates divine orchestration of temporal phenomena. Tabari offers several logical demonstrations. There's the sequential necessity argument, the fundamental asymmetry between night and day, one bringing darkness and the other light, proves their contingent nature. Since these opposite conditions cannot coincide, sequential order becomes necessary. One must precede the other. This sequence indicates origination rather than eternal existence. Then there's the numerical argument. Days and nights form countable sequences, and anything countable must involve either even or odd numbers. Even sequences begin with 2, odd sequences with 1. Both demonstrate definite starting points. Whatever has a beginning requires a beginner. Finally, there's the observational evidence. Each day follows a predecessor and precedes a successor, creating an observable chain of temporal emergence. What was not and came into being was originated and created. The daily sequence provides empirical proof of time's createdness. Tabari's analysis integrates multiple methodological approaches: linguistic precision, prophetic authority, mathematical calculation, comparative chronology, and philosophical reasoning. This synthesis demonstrates how Islamic scholarship approaches fundamental questions by combining revealed knowledge with rational analysis and empirical observation. The temporal framework established here provides the foundation for understanding human history as divine pedagogy. It's a structured sequence through which divine justice and mercy manifest across cultures and generations. Time itself becomes a created medium through which eternal principles encounter historical contingency. That's why chronological accuracy matters so much. It's essential for comprehending how divine providence works through human affairs.